Hello students, Jinalisha welcomes you on behalf of Saraswat International Academy. Students, today we will begin with the next part of the chapter Anatomy of Flowering Plants. Students, in the previous video we have studied regarding the internal structure of dicot and monocot root. Also we have studied regarding the internal structure of dicot and monocot stem. In today's video, we will be studying regarding the internal structure of dicot and monocot leaf. So, let us begin the anatomy of the dicot and monocot leaves. So, basically we know that leaves, they are very important vegetative organs of the plant. They are mainly concerned with photosynthesis and transpiration. That is, leaves are the organ which prepare the food for the plant, as well as they play the important role in transpiration. Transpiration is loss of the water in the form of the water vapor. So, these two important processes are carried out by the leaves. Now, like stem and roots, the leaves also have three tissue system: epidermal, ground and vascular. We know that basically there are three tissue system: epidermal tissue system, ground tissue system and vascular tissue system. All these three tissue systems are present within the leaf also. The epidermal tissue system, it consists of upper and lower epidermis. We know that leaf is a flat organ. Being a flat organ, it consists of both upper and lower epidermis. The ground tissue system, it lies between the epidermal layers of the leaf and it is called as a mesophyll tissue. So, the ground tissue system of a leaf is called as a mesophyll tissue and it extends from upper epidermis and to the lower epidermis, or you can say the tissue system between the epidermal layers, that is the between upper epidermis and lower epidermis, it is called as a mesophyll tissue. The vascular tissue system is composed of vascular bundles. Here vascular bundles are collateral and closed. That is, say for example, this is a vascular bundle, this will be xylem, this will be phloem, and here there is no cambium. As there is no cambium, it is called as what? A closed vascular bundle. So, this is which type of vascular bundle? It is conjoint, collateral, as well as it is which type of bundle? Closed type of the vascular bundle. The vascular tissue forms the skeletal of the leaf and is known as the veins. So, basically where are vascular bundles present within the leaf? They are present within the veins and they supply water and minerals to the photosynthetic tissues. Now students, we will study in detail the anatomy, or you can say the internal structure of the dorsiventral, or also called as the dicotyledonous leaf. So, here we will begin with the anatomy or internal structure of dicot leaf, which is also called as the dorsiventral leaf. Dorsi related to dorsal, ventri related to ventral. So, why it is called as a dorsiventral leaf? It is called as the dorsiventral leaf because there are two different types of the tissues towards the upper and lower epidermis, and as there are two different types of the mesophyll tissue towards the upper and lower epidermis, it is called as a dorsiventral leaf. So, the section of a dorsiventral leaf or a sunflower leaf, it is stained through safranin and observed under microscope. The vertical section of a dorsiventral leaf through the lamina shows the three main parts. There are three main structures seen of a dorsiventral leaf when observed under microscope. They are epidermis, mesophyll and the vascular tissue system. So, first of all, let us begin with the epidermis. So, the leaf is generally dorsiventral, which has upper and lower epidermis. So, there are two epidermis. Leaf being a flat organ, there are two epidermis. One is the upper epidermis and another one is the lower epidermis. The epidermis which covers the upper surface is called as adaxial epidermis. So, upper epidermis is called as the adaxial epidermis, and the epidermis which covers the lower surface, it is called as the abaxial epidermis. So, lower epidermis is called as the which type of epidermis? Abaxial epidermis. And both the epidermis of the leaf have a conspicuous cuticle. That is, they are covered. Both the epidermis have a thick layer of the cuticle over it. The epidermis is usually made up of a single layer of parenchymatous cells that are closely packed. So, what is epidermis made up of? It is made up of compactly arranged single layer of parenchymatous cells, and over the layer of this parenchymatous cells there is the presence of the cuticle. The abaxial surface, abaxial it means the lower surface, or you can say lower epidermis. It bears more stomata than the adaxial surface, which means upper epidermis. So, number of the stomata are more on the lower epidermis compared to the upper epidermis. The latter, that is the adaxial or the upper epidermis, may even lack the stomata. It may also happen कि upper epidermis में stomata present ना भी हो. So, number of the stomata are more on the lower epidermis, and on the upper epidermis the stomata are few in number, or it may even be absent. A stomata is surrounded by a pair of bean-shaped cell called as the guard cell. Now we know that stomata is surrounded by the guard cells. So in dicot, the shape of the guard cell is bean-shaped. Okay. Each stoma internally opens into the air chamber. Each stomata or each stomatal pore internally opens into a cavity which is called as an air chamber. The guard cells contain chloroplast while other epidermal cells do not contain chloroplast. Suppose this is the bean shaped guard cells, right? So, this guard cell will contain the chloroplast, but the other epidermal cells, they are devoid of the chloroplast. Are you getting my point? Only in the epidermal tissue system, the guard cell consists of the chloroplast, whereas the other epidermal cells are devoid of the chloroplast. Now, what is the general function of the epidermis? So, main function of epidermis is to give protection to the inner tissue called mesophile. Now, leaf का main काम क्या है? Photosynthesis. Photosynthesis कौन करता है basically? So, it is the mesophile tissue. ये mesophile tissue को protect करने का काम किसका है? Epidermal tissue system. The cuticle helps to check the transpiration. Okay, cuticle क्या करता है? It does check the process of transpiration. And stomata, again they are used for transpiration and exchange of gases. So these are the general function of the epidermis and its related structure. Epidermis का काम क्या है? To protect the inner mesophile tissue. The cuticle present on the epidermis checks the transpiration, and stomata present in the epidermis is useful in transpiration as well as in the gaseous exchange. Now the next part or next tissue system is the mesophile. What is mesophile? The ground tissue system. So the ground tissue system of the leaf is called as what? It is called as the mesophile. So what is mesophile? A tissue between upper and lower epidermis is known as the mesophile. What is mesophile? The tissue between the upper and lower epidermis, it is called as the mesophile. It is a Greek word. Meso, it means in middle, and phylum means leaf. So tissue present in between the upper and lower epidermis of the leaf is called as the mesophile. Mesophile which possess chloroplast and carry out photosynthesis is made up of parenchyma. So it is the mesophile of the leaf which consists of the chloroplast, and as it consists of the chloroplast, it is concerned with the process of photosynthesis, and this complete mesophile is made up of parenchyma. Which type of parenchyma? So here it is the chlorenchyma. What is chlorenchyma? The parenchyma consisting of a chloroplast is called as the chlorenchyma. So basically the mesophile, it is made up of what? It is made up of the chlorenchyma. Now here the mesophile is made up of the two different types of the cell. Which are those two different types of the cell? So one is the palisade parenchyma and another one is the spongy parenchyma. So the mesophile tissue of the dicot leaf is made up of the two different types of the cell. One is palisade parenchyma and another one is the spongy parenchyma. So first of all, let us begin with the palisade type of the parenchyma. The adaxially placed, that is the parenchyma which is placed towards the upper epidermis. Say for example, this is the upper epidermis, right? This upper epidermis is surrounded by what? It is surrounded by a thick layer of cuticle. Same way, this is what? This is a lower epidermis, and this lower epidermis is also surrounded by a layer of cuticle. Now, towards the upper epidermis, which type of mesophile tissue occurs? So, it is made up of the palisade type of the parenchyma, and this palisade type of the parenchyma is made up of the elongated cells, and these elongated cells are arranged in one or two layers. Here you can see. So basically this is the upper epidermis. This is which type of parenchyma? This is the palisade type of the parenchyma. So the adaxially, that is upper epidermis placed palisade parenchyma is made up of the elongated cells which are arranged vertically and parallel to each other. Basically, it consists of vertically elongated cylindrical cells in one or more layer. Now, these cells, that is the cells of the palisade parenchyma, which are placed towards the upper epidermis, they occur in nearly two or more layers. How are these cells? They are the elongated cells. And how are they arranged? They are arranged very compactly, and as they are arranged compactly, they are generally without any intercellular spaces. As the cells of the palisade type of parenchyma are compactly arranged, they do not have any intercellular spaces between them. So basically palisade parenchyma are the elongated cells which are arranged vertically one above the other and parallel to each other, and they are compactly arranged and do not have any intercellular space between them. The palisade parenchyma cells contain more chloroplast than the spongy parenchyma cells. So, amount of the chloroplast in the palisade parenchyma is more than the spongy parenchyma cells, and therefore the main function of the palisade parenchyma is photosynthesis. लीफ का जनरल काम ही फोटोसिंथेसिस है. सो ये फोटोसिंथेसिस कौन करता है? सो फोटोसिंथेसिस इज कैरीड आउट बाय द mesophile tissue. Now this mesophile tissue is made up of two types of cell. One is palisade parenchyma and another one is the spongy parenchyma. Amount of the chloroplast in palisade parenchyma is more, and therefore the main function of the palisade parenchyma is photosynthesis. So that was regarding the palisade parenchyma. Now let us study regarding the spongy parenchyma. So basically those parenchyma which are located towards the lower epidermis. The parenchyma located towards the lower epidermis is made up of loosely arranged rounded or oval cells, and these cells are called as the spongy parenchyma. So, the oval or round and loosely arranged spongy parenchyma is situated below the palisade cells and it extends to the lower epidermis. See students, how will be the structures? This is the upper epidermis, right? Say for example, this is the lower epidermis, right? Now, towards the upper epidermis, there are 1 to 2 layers of which cells? There are 1 to 2 layers of the palisade parenchyma. Now, palisade parenchyma ke niche is a cell of rounded or oval cells, and these rounded or oval cells, they are extending towards the lower epidermis. This rounded or oval cell which are situated below the palisade parenchyma and which extend towards the lower epidermis are called as the spongy parenchyma. Now, as the cells are loosely arranged, there are numerous large spaces between the cells, and these spaces are called as the air cavities or air spaces. As the cells are loosely arranged, they contain numerous large spaces between them, and these spaces between the cells is known as the air cavities or air spaces. As compared to palisade cell, the spongy cells contain lesser number of chloroplasts. Amount of chloroplast in spongy parenchyma is less compared to the palisade type of the parenchyma. So, what is the main function of the spongy cells? So, spongy cells facilitate the exchange of gases with the help of air spaces. ये cells के बीच में क्या है? Air spaces है. With the help of these air spaces, this spongy cells helps in the process of exchange of gases. The air space that is found next to the stomata is called as the respiratory cavity or substomatal cavity. Very important. मैंने बोला कि सेल्स के बीच में क्या है? गैप है. What is that gap called as? Air space. So, those air spaces which occur next to the stomata, these air spaces are called as the substomatal cavity or also called as the respiratory cavity. So, that was regarding the mesophile of the dicot stem. Now, we will begin with the vascular bundles of the dicot stem. Vascular system consists of vascular bundles which can be seen in veins and midrib. Okay, so vascular tissue system किसका बना है? Vascular bundles. And in leaf, where can be the vascular bundle seen? So they are seen in the midrib and the veins. Midrib is the main middle vein. The size of the vascular bundles are dependent on the size of the veins. The veins vary in thickness in reticulate venation of the dicot leaves. We know that, say for example, this is a leaf, this is the midrib, right? This is the midrib or midvein. Now, these small veins occur, okay? Now, size of the vascular bundle is dependent on the size of the veins. And in reticulate venation, the size of the veins will vary in thickness. In longitudinally and transversely cut vascular bundles, different thickenings are seen in the walls of the cells of the xylem. So, basically, जो vascular bundles longitudinally and transversely cut है, in them you will see various thickenings in the wall of the xylem. Now, which type of vascular bundles are there? Conjoint, yani xylem and phloem together on the same radius. Collateral, it means xylem occurring on the inner side and phloem on the outer side. Closed, that is without cambium. Xylem is present towards the upper epidermis, phloem is located towards the lower epidermis. Very, very important, students. The xylem is present towards the upper epidermis and phloem is located towards the lower epidermis. The vascular bundles are surrounded by compact layer of thick wall parenchymatous cells called as bundle sheath cell. So each vascular bundle is surrounded by a parenchymatous cells, and this parenchymatous thick wall cells surrounding the vascular bundles are called as the bundle sheath cells. So that was regarding the vascular bundles. So now one important note, students, in the dicot leaves various type of mesophyll tissue is located in adaxial epidermis and abaxial epidermis. Adaxial surface में कौन सा था? So it was the palisade type of the cell, whereas in the abaxial region it was which type of cell? Spongy type of cell. So as there are two different types of the mesophyll tissue towards the upper and lower epidermis, the dicot leaves are called as the dorsiventral leaf. That is, there are two different types of the tissues towards the lower and upper surface, and therefore it is called as which type of leaf? The dorsiventral leaves. This is a diagram of the dicot leaf. See students, the outer layer is cuticle, then there is upper epidermis. These are the elongated cell occurring in two layers, which are called as the which type of cell? They are called as the palisade parenchyma. The lower part, this is called as the lower epidermis with cuticle. This is the epidermal hair. Now this is the stomata. Now below that there are the spongy cells. Now this spongy cell have the air cavities. These are the air cavities, and the air cavity below the stomata is called as what? It is called as the respiratory cavity, or also called as the substomatal cavity. This is what? Phloem, which is located towards the lower epidermis, xylem, which is located towards the upper epidermis. So that is a diagram of the dicot leaf. This diagram is given in your book. Here you can see this is the adaxial or upper epidermis covered by a layer of cuticle. These are the palisade cell, elongated cell. Then these are the spongy cells. These spongy cells have large intercellular spaces which are called as the air cavity. The air cavity, this is the lower epidermis, this is a cuticle of the lower epidermis, and this is having a stomata. The stomata के नीचे की जो air cavity है, that is called as the substomatal cavity. So that is regarding the dicot leaf. Now we will study in detail the internal structure of the isobilateral or monocotyledonous leaf. Iso यानी same, bi यानी two. That is, there on both the epidermis same type of the tissues are present. Dicot में आपने क्या देखा? Towards the upper epidermis palisade cells were there, towards the lower epidermis spongy cells were there. Whereas in monocot leaf, both the epidermis have the similar type of the mesophyll tissue, and therefore it is called as the isobilateral leaf. Iso, it means same, bi means two. That is, two on both the sides of the epidermis, same type of the mesophyll tissue is present. The leaf of maize is flat and long. The cells produced in the midleaf or mesophyll tissue are of same type. So structurally, maize is a isobilateral leaf. The thin section of the maize leaf is stained with saffronine and viewed under microscope. Then the following layers are seen in it: epidermis, mesophyll tissue and vascular bundles. So first of all, let us begin with the epidermis. So the leaf has upper and lower epidermis, which is made up of the single layer of thin walled cells. Both the epidermis, that is outer surface of both the epidermis, are covered by thick cuticle. The stomata are present on both the surfaces of the epidermis, and the number of stomata is more or less equal on both the epidermis. See students, this is the main difference between the dicot and monocot leaves. Dicot में क्या था? Upper epidermis में stomata बहुत कम थे या absent थे, and the more number of stomata was present towards the lower epidermis. But when we talk about the monocot leaf, the number of stomata are more or less equal on both the epidermis. Each stomata is surrounded by the dumbbell shaped guard cells. जबकि in the dicot it was which type of guard cells? They were the bean or kidney shaped guard cells. The guard cells contain chloroplast whereas other epidermal cells do not have them. Same thing, गार्ड सेल में क्लोरोप्लास्ट रहता है बट दूसरे एपिडर्मल सेल में क्लोरोप्लास्ट नहीं होगा. Some special cells surround the guard cells which are called as the subsidiary cells. So there are specialized cells surrounding the guard cells which are called as the subsidiary cells. And these subsidiary cells are different from the other epidermal cells. In grasses, now see students, this is very important. So grasses are again examples of the monocot. So in grasses, certain adaxial epidermal cells along the veins modify themselves into large empty colorless cells. Listen very carefully. Grasses में क्या होता है कि certain epidermal cells of the upper epidermis, adaxial, that is upper. So certain epidermal cells of the upper epidermis which are located along the vein, they get modified into large empty colorless cells, and these cells are called as the bulliform cells. So basically the bulliform cells differentiates the upper epidermis from the lower epidermis. In the grasses, the upper epidermal cells, certain upper epidermal cells gets modified into large colorless empty cells. These cells are called as the bulliform cells. Now these bulliform cells are arranged in rows and are in group of 5 to 7. This is one cell, this is another, this is third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So this is a row of what? Bulliform cells. Now on the both sides of the bulliform cells, there is the presence of a unicellular curved trichomes. So small unicellular trichomes located on both the sides of the cells. ये सेल का रो है एंड ये सेल के सराउंडिंग में दोनों साइड पे क्या होते हैं? यूनिसेल्युलर ट्राइकोम्स होते हैं. And the presence of the bulliform cell separates the adaxial layer from the abaxial layer. Adaxial layer के पास bulliform cells होंगे and abaxial layer में bulliform cells नहीं होंगे. Now what is the function of these bulliform cells? Bulliform cells in humid atmosphere, यानी जब एटमोसफियर में मॉइस्चर होता है, ह्यूमिडिटी होती है, at that time these cells they absorb the water, the cells become turgid and the leaf surface is exposed. क्या बोल रहे हैं? That is, bulliform cells in the humid atmosphere will absorb the water. When any cells absorb the water, the cells become turgid. जिसकी वजह से क्या होगा? लीफ सरफेस एक्सपोज्ड हो जाएगा. The leaf will open. Whereas in the dry atmosphere, when they are flaccid, that is plasma membrane is not tightly pressed against the cell wall. ये कंडीशन में हम ऐसा बोलते हैं कि सेल नाइदर swollen है नॉर इट इज़ प्लाज्मोलाइज्ड, यानी इतना श्रंक भी नहीं है. सो ये टाइम पे ड्यू टू वाटर स्ट्रेस, सी लिसन, सिंपल टर्म में ये बोल रहा है कि जब ड्राई एटमॉस्फेयर होता है, what happens? These cells they lose the water, makes the leaves to curl inward and minimize the water loss due to transpiration. जब एटमॉस्फेयर ड्राई है, ये टाइम पे सिर्फ बुलिफॉर्म सेल्स क्या करेंगे? वाटर को रिमूव करेंगे. ये सेल्स जब वाटर को रिमूव करेंगे तो लीफ क्या हो जाएगा? कर्ल हो जाएगा. द लीफ विल रोल, ड्यू टू विच द लीफ सरफेस जो पहले एक्सपोज था, अभी वो कैसा हो जाएगा? उसका एरिया कम हो जाएगा, क्योंकि वो लीफ कैसा हो गया है? कर्ल हो गया है, रोल्ड हो गया है, जिसकी वजह से वाटर लॉस ड्यू टू द ट्रांसपीरेशन वोंट अकर, क्योंकि स्टोमेटा अभी एक्सपोज नहीं रहेंगे. लीफ क्या हो गया है? कर्ल हो गया है. लीफ कर्ल हो गया है यानी लेस नंबर ऑफ द स्टोमेटा विल बी exposed and thus less amount of the transpiration will take place. And yes, in dry season the plants cannot afford to lose the water. So what happens, bulliform cells जब मॉइस्चर अवेलेबल है तो क्या करेंगे, वाटर को एब्सॉर्ब करेंगे. जैसे ही वाटर को एब्सॉर्ब करेंगे लीफ क्या हो जाएगा, एक्सपोज हो जाएगा. एंड ड्राई सीजन में ये क्या होता है, बुलिफॉर्म सेल्स वाटर को निकाल देते हैं. सिर्फ बुलिफॉर्म सेल में से वाटर निकलता है. सो व्हाट हैपन्स, द लीफ विल रोल और इट विल कर्ल, जिसकी वजह से लीफ एरिया कम हो जाएगा, लेस टोमेटा एक्सपोज हो गए and less amount of transpiration will take place. So bulliform cells, they are responsible for movement of leaf. They are responsible for rolling and unrolling of the leaf. Dry season में वो leaf को roll करेंगे, humidity या humid atmosphere में वो leaf को unroll करते हैं. So as bulliform cells are responsible for movement of the leaf, or you can say as they are responsible for rolling and unrolling of the leaf, they are also called as the motor cells. The bulliform cells, as they are responsible for rolling and unrolling of the leaves, they are called as motor cell. Rolling कब करेंगे, dry season में, and unrolling कब करेंगे, humid atmosphere में. So that is very very important regarding the bulliform cells. Now next is the mesophile tissue. What is mesophile? So it is a ground tissue present between the upper and lower epidermis of the leaf. So ground tissue between the upper and lower epidermis, it is called as the mesophile. Here students, it is not differentiated into palisade and spongy parenchyma. जबकि डाइकोट में क्या था, adaxial surface was having palisade and abaxial surface was having spongy. There is no such differentiation in the monocot leaf. Only palisade tissue is located between both the epidermis. All the mesophile cells are nearly isodiametric and thin walled. Iso same, diametric yani same in diameter. So all the mesophile cells have the same diameter and are thin walled. They are compactly arranged with limited intercellular spaces. They contain numerous chloroplasts. Air cavities are located below the stomata, and these cavities which are present below the stomata are called as the substomatal cavities. Clear? Now vascular bundles. Vascular bundles are conjoint, collateral and closed. They are of both small and large types. Smaller vascular bundles are located between the larger vascular bundles. Each larger vascular bundle is surrounded by sclerenchymatous bundle sheath. See students, यहाँ पे larger smaller दोनों vascular bundle है. Normally between the larger vascular bundles are present smaller vascular bundle. Each larger vascular bundle is surrounded by the sclerenchymatous bundle sheath, whereas a smaller vascular bundle is surrounded by the parenchymatous bundle sheath. The xylem of the vascular bundle is located towards upper epidermis and phloem is located towards the lower epidermis. कैसे vascular bundle है, conjoint and closed, यानी xylem and phloem occur at the same radius and in between them cambium will be absent. The parallel venation in the monocot leaf is reflected in near similar size of the vascular bundles except in the main veins as seen in the vertical sections of the leaf. When you study the vertical section of the leaf, आप देखोगे कि due to parallel venation most of the vascular bundles are similar in size except for the mid veins. Mid veins के जो vascular bundles होंगे उसकी size कैसी होगी, different होगी. See students, this is a diagram of the monocot leaf. This is cuticle, this is upper epidermis. Here you can see all the cells of the mesophile are same. Okay, so this is a mesophile. Bundle sheath, xylem, phloem, lower epidermis, stoma. Lower epidermis में क्या होता है, stomata के नीचे there will be the presence of the substomatal cavity. See students, this is a diagram given in your book. Adaxial surface, abaxial epidermis, this is a opening stomata Stomata के नीचे there is a air chamber called as a substomatal cavity, and complete mesophile is made up of the same type of cells without any intercellular spaces. The xylem is facing towards the upper epidermis and phloem is facing towards the lower epidermis. So that is regarding the anatomy of the monocot leaf. Students, I end my lecture here today. In the next video, which will be the last part of this chapter, we will be studying how the secondary growth occurs in the dicot. We know that in dicot, root and stem, there is the presence of cambium, and this cambium is responsible for secondary growth. So how secondary growth occurs in the dicots, we will be seeing in the last video of this chapter. Thank you, students.